Whistleblowers at a taxpayer-funded nonprofit allege wasteful spending that includes six-figure salaries given to personal friends.
3 former BCYF employees said Lawrence and Hansen are close friends of Lee, who are not qualified for their executive roles.
Do you think Alysia Lee is working in the interest of Baltimore City youth?
No, I think Alysia Lee is working in the interest of herself.
We have 3 whistleblowers, former employees on record anonymously, because obviously they're afraid of retribution, but what they're describing is a pattern we've seen over and over again from Mayor Brandon Scott's Baltimore. You take care of your own people and you freeze out everyone else. And the residents, the kids, they get what's ever left, the scraps. Let's get into it. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about Mayor Brandon Scott again because one of the tax-paid funded operations connected to his administration just got blown wide open. Now, we've been talking about the Baltimore's Children and Youth Fund, the BCYF, a nonprofit that gets $16 million a year from Baltimore City taxpayers. This is not donations. This is not fundraising. This is taxpayer money guaranteed every single year through the city charter. And 3 former employees just came forward on the Spotlight on Maryland and said that the president of this fund is running it like her own personal piggy bank for her and her own friends. And all of this is connected to Mayor Brandon Scott. So Spotlight on Maryland, Patrick Huff, who has been on this case doing incredible work, sat down with 3 former BCYF employees. All 3 asked to remain anonymous because they're scared. They think something's going to happen. That alone should tell you about the culture that's happening within this organization. And here's what they said. The president of BCYF, by the name of Alysia Lee, has surrounded herself with personal friends and executive positions.
So yeah, that favoritism looks like elevated pay. Overall, she is very much a dictator.
And these aren't volunteer roles. These are 6-figure salaries paid by the taxpayer, the Baltimore City taxpayer. They're doing extremely well. Spotlight on Maryland obtained the salary data through a public information request. As you can see, the president, she's making $219,000 a year. Sharonda Lawrence, $157,000. And then Brandon Henson, VP of External Affairs, $144,000. This is a lot of money. So here's the part that matters. The whistleblowers say that Lawrence is Lee's childhood friend. They say that Hansen is Lee's longtime friend long before BCYF. And a third person, a consultant by the name of Jen Leslock, is also a close friend of Lee. Leslock's consulting firm got paid $200,000 between 2023 and 2025. Lee's own social media shows pictures with Leslock going back to 2017, 5 years before Lee even started running BCYF. And it gets worse. Lawrence, the childhood friend, she runs HR. So if you cross Lee, her best friend is the one handling your complaint.
Unfortunately for those people who end up on the wrong side of Alysia, they are typically shafted by HR.
Alysia Lee is a bully, another former employee told us.
Her best friend is the one that's going to handle your complaint. The system where Lee works with Lawrence to build a case against employees she doesn't like so that she can push them out. Now let me show you where the money goes, because this isn't just about huge inflated salaries. Brandon Henson, the VP of Executive Affairs, he was originally hired for fundraising and partnerships. His whole job was to bring in outside money. But BCYF's own tax forms show that during his tenure, the organization received 1% of revenue through private donations, 0.1%. The other 99.9% comes from, you guessed it, Baltimore City taxpayers. So the fundraising guy raised almost nothing and then got promoted to VP. Does that make any sense? No competitive bidding, just friends getting contracts. The whistleblowers also describe how Lee hands out money through something called the President's Grant, which is an invitation-only fund at the president's personal discretion.
A lot of them are people who she has connections with outside of BCYF, and so she ends up funding those people just kind of based on those relationships.
And then here's the spending on events. The whistleblowers describe thousands of dollars on balloon arches, t-shirts, lavish events, and family members getting hired to work those events. Spotlight on Maryland already described how BCYF spends roughly $300,000 on out-of-state trips for adults, not kids, adults, to Austin, New Orleans, St. Louis, including a $100,000 civil rights trip to Alabama in 2024. 3 yoga sessions costing $3,600 and an individual dinner tabs with $75 steaks and $76 for snow crab and crawfish. Now you already know how much the mayor loves those crawfish, and all this is on the taxpayers' dime. While this money is supposed to be going to the Baltimore's youth, the children, the adults are walking around making a lot of money and spending a lot of money. Again, a lot of taxpayers' money. Now, this is where I need you to pay attention because the media report focused on Lee, but this is a Brandon Scott story. Let me show you why. BCYF gets $16 million a year from Baltimore City. That's the mayor's budget. That's the money in the mayor's administration that he allocates and he's supposed to oversee. But it gets even deeper than that. Spotlight on Maryland reported that Brandon Scott sits on the board of the nonprofit called Baltimore's Promise. Lee, the BCYF president, also sits on the same board. And this year, the city budget directed $2 million from BCYF through the mayor's office through a program administered by Baltimore's Promise, the organization where both of them are board members. So let me say that again. The mayor and the president of BCYF both sit on the board of an organization that receives money from BCYF. That's the taxpayer money chain. Your property taxes go to City Hall. City Hall sends it to BCYF. BCYF sends it to the mayor's office. And then the mayor's office sends it to an organization where both the mayor and the BCYF president sit on the board. A nonprofit finance expert at Ohio State said that the mayor and Lee owe the public an explanation. And there's more. This year, BCYF's grant budget, the money that's supposed to go directly to grassroots youth organizations, was cut by 40% from $15.2 million to $9.2 million. Where did all that money go? $7 million went to the mayor's Office of Employment Development. When Spotlight on Maryland asked BCYF for documentation for the $7 million transfer, BCYF said they have no documentation. $7 million with no paperwork. Does that make any sense? City Councilman Mark Conway voted against the budget over this. He told Spotlight on Maryland, and I'm paraphrasing, the goal of BCYF is to support community programs for young people, not to shuffle money back to the city government. Even the former mayor who created BCYF, Jack Young, said that he is an unhappy camper about how the fund is being ran. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. If you like this type of content, hit subscribe, hype, like, all those good things. Now let's get back into it. Now, if you've been watching this channel, this sounds extremely familiar because we've been covering Brandon Scott multiple times, and every single time it's the same bullcrap. The inspector general found $890,000 in unapproved spending from the mayor's office. The food, the flowers, the stadium suites, and Scott's response is, well, nothing illegal was done here. He even sued the inspector general to block access to Mosey's records. He drives a $163,000 SUV while telling reporters they're asking a bunch of stupid questions. And now we have the BCYF, a $16 million tax-funded operation where the president makes over $200,000. Her childhood friend runs HR. Another friend got promoted after raising essentially $0 in fundraising. A consultant friend that got $200,000 herself in contracts and grants that go to organizations run by the board members, and the president hands out invitation-only grants based on personal relationships. And the mayor himself sits on the board of a nonprofit receiving BCYF money. Many people suggest that these people are not even qualified to have the jobs they currently have. So this isn't just one bad nonprofit. This is a system, a very corrupt system. This is how Brandon Scott's Baltimore operates. If you're in the circle, you get to eat. If you're not in the circle, you get pushed out. And for the youth of Baltimore, the kids, this fund was created to serve. They're getting the crumbs that's left after everyone gets their plate. The former VP of Finance at BCYF, Thayer, told Spotlight on Maryland that she was fired after sharing line-by-line spending reports with the mayor's office. Think about that. The person that is in charge of tracking the money got fired for showing the city hall where the money was going. That's not an accident. That's how you protect the system. And when BCYF was asked to produce records showing how grantees spend taxpayer money, they denied the request. When reporters want to talk to the president, she has been rejecting interview requests for over a year. They're emailing every single member of city council and Brandon Scott asking if they can support the inspector general's investigation into BCYF. They did not receive not one response. Here's where we are. The Baltimore City Inspector General is investigating BCYF. A city council bill is on the table to add oversight and require performative audits 3 whistleblowers have come forward. Spotlight on Maryland have been digging at this for over a year. And Brandon Scott, he's still sitting on the board, still sending millions to BCYF, still taking money from BCYF back into his own office, and still refusing to answer any questions about any of it. That goes for a nonprofit and the mayor's office. We need to continue to follow the story and to see what's going on, because if $16 million of your money is going into this fund every single year and the people running it won't even show you where it went, that's a big problem. If you're a taxpayer of Baltimore City, you want these questions to be answered. So let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.